of the 2025 FIA World Endurance Championship. The finale and titles up for grabs. Almost everything still open for the drivers, the teams, the cars that are here for the Bahrain International Circuit, and for the 8 hours, which is points and a half. So longer, harder, and probably hotter than many of the races this season. Well, thank you for joining us wherever you are as we get ready for the final free practice session. Martin Haven joined in the booth by Graham Goodwin and Anthony Davidson. In the pit lane, we'll have Bruce Ioane and Alex Le Gui joining us for the second time this season. Valentino Rossi and everybody else getting ready to go out for the final practice session. And Anthony, because of the nature of this track, because it is so hard on tyres and machinery as well as drivers, actually there's still probably quite a lot to learn.
There's always a lot to learn. It's great to be back here in Bahrain, and like you say, Martin, it's a real test of driver and machine, this circuit. It's all about the heavy braking. It's a very coarse tarmac here, so it plays havoc with the tyre wear. We can see on the screen there, right at the end, final race out of 8 in the championship. It all comes down to this one, Graham.
Yes, it does, and it's going to be 4 cars in it for the championship for hypercar. 3 cars still in it, so they can take the championship in Adam GT3, and absolutely on a knife edge.
And the forecast is good, funnily enough. We do often get rain here, but there is none forecast for this weekend. Air temperature currently 30, track currently 35 and rising fast. And actually, Anthony, once we look into qualifying later in the season, that's in the day, it's going to be important. But a new name in the Porsche Penske Motorsport lineup.
Yeah, for the final race of this program here in the FIA World Endurance Championship, and it's GTD Pro Championship winning driver Lauren Heinrich from the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. He's looking to see what's going to be coming next there. Tom Van Rompuy, we've just seen there. He's looking like he's on the move next season too. All sorts of storylines of this stunning circuit in the Gulf.
Yeah, we touched on the circuit earlier on, so here is the map of this 5.4 kilometre, 15 corners race here, 8 hours of Bahrain. Going to look at a few sections here. First of all, first corner, the pit lane feeds into turn 1. A really important corner, though, in qualifying to nail that braking zone. You've got to look to see where the wind direction's coming from as well. A headwind is going to help you on the brakes. A tailwind, of course, pushes you on and into another slow-speed corner. Many slow-speed corners here. This is one of the trickiest of all, turn 10. Braking, that combination of braking, turning at the same time as it pinches up at the apex. Another vital one to get right in quali. And then into the final, I call it the final corner. There are actually 2 corners here, 14 and 15. And you daren't run out too wide in the middle of this double apex, because that can really hinder your performance as you get onto that long main straight down towards turn 1 again. A great technical track, this one. Like I said before, very hard on the tyres, never been resurfaced since 2004. The original tarmac still in place. It's therefore got more character than ever before. A few bumps have crept in as well. And look at this, Jensen Button, his final race ever as a professional racing driver.
Yeah, his final full-term season, isn't it? And he's gone back to his roots. The helmet livery, not recognisable for those of you that have seen him in his Formula 1 era, but that was the colour that the colours that he used in his first season of karting. So going back to his roots.
And the other end of the spectrum, if you like, in terms of career, that's Finn Gersitz at Akkodis ASP. Was chatting to Ellen Law, truck racing and DTM legend, who looks after Finn. There's a young man with lots of potential to come.
Ellen Law, lots of GT racing under her belt as well. In the other car, Mercedes Iron Lynx, looks like Martin Berry is going to be heading out first, the Aussie. And everybody now kind of trying to get their ducks in a row for the 2026 season as well. Of course, we've got lots of news of new arrivals coming from 2026 in terms of drivers and teams and cars, and then more lining up for 2027. And some of that, or some of the new talent certainly, Anthony, is going to be seen in the rookie test that follows the race, which of course is on Saturday here in Bahrain.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to that one on the Sunday, because it's not, we call them rookies, but it's rookies only to the World Endurance Championship. So you could see drivers that are very experienced, globally very experienced, but in racing, but not so in WEC. And here are the tyre allocations for this weekend. These are the Goodyears. You only have the one compound, the hard tyre and the dry, and I'm sure, I'm not a betting man, but I'd be willing to put some money down, a little bit of money down, on the fact we won't be using the blue-coloured wet weather tyres.
Davidson offers bet, shock. But here's the McLaren, and this is where we are going to see a change. This is the final race in this iteration for United Autosports. They then will take a bit of a sabbatical from racing in the World Endurance Championship to do the development program with the hypercar that they will be running for the McLaren factory team in 2027. After the 8 Hours of Bahrain, the reins for the LMGT3 program for McLaren will switch to Garage 59, and their team principals are all here and in learning mode.
Yeah, that's going to be really good, actually. Garage 59 with loads of GT racing experience and a really lovely punch. Okay, Sunshine, stop on the marks. Excellent. I want to know the backstory to that one.
Get a chance to see the guys in the pit garage, by the way. It won't be here on pit lane. Anniversary socks for each of the people in the Jota squad. Quick look there at the Peugeot, now at Alpine. These and Davidson are the choices available in hypercar.
Yeah, so here we have the choice of the medium and hard tyres, and obviously the wet, same colour combination as the Goodyear branded tyres. But yeah, for this one, we've got a radio.
Track temp 30 and rise. Sorry, track temp 40 and rising. Air temp between 30 and 31. The wind is a little bit more offset, so it's more of a pure tailwind out of 4 now. Still in the headwind direction, turn 1, but more pure tailwind, turn 4 exit.
It's like we were saying before, the wind. And if you just look to the top of your screen, do you see the big flag of Bahrain just flapping in the wind there? It's not particularly strong wind today, but that's exactly what his engineer was saying. The tailwind towards turn 4. So it's not when you're in the car, but before you get in the car, I would always use that flag as my reference, my guide to see which direction the wind was coming from. And these cars, particularly the hypercar category, that are so dependent on the aerodynamics to give them their grip at higher speed, mainly, the wind direction and strength can really take its toll on the balance and the feel of the car and the grip of the car as well. So that was good advice there from Brendan's engineer down at Toyota, just giving the driver a pre-warning as what you could expect based on the running from yesterday with the wind change. Yeah,
it's coming across basically from left to right on the straight, so it's not a tailwind, it's not a headwind. It's only 7 kilometres an hour, so what, 4.5, 5 knots? I mean, barely sail a dinghy in that.
So that tailwind that's going to push the car on into turn 4 is going to actually be your friend when you come into the complex we saw on the screen, the circuit map of 9 and 10. You then drive into the headwind the more you go into that corner, which is a better way around, because that's why it was on our circuit guide. It's because it's one of the trickier corners on the track.
And also the final corners as well, 14 and 15. Don't forget, if you're enjoying what you've seen in 2025...
1 minute, under 1 minute to open pit exit. We are under 1 minute to open pit exit.
Then you can buy tickets for all of the races in next year's calendar as of now. Le Mans tickets go on sale today, November the 7th. And if you haven't bought them today, tomorrow might be a bit too late. They have sold out within 24 hours before, so Le Mans tickets are on sale.
What dramas lie ahead here?
Seconds.
Science Fun Tour still in the Chancellor Championship here, the number 6 crew.
Pit exit will open in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pit exit is now open. FP3 has started.
Technically, that would be known as the voice of God, and Eduardo Freitas might not see himself in that role, but he certainly has an overriding view as our race director of the World Endurance Championship. A very familiar voice and a familiar face in the championship, and he will continue to be so.
As we see the 33 car, the TF Sports Corvette leading pit lane. Just a moment there to talk about championship positions. They're 4th in the LMGT3 Championship, can match the current leading score, but would not be able to take the championship on countback. That car just making its way through that first complex, Ant. That overhead view down pit lane I'll tell you something, shows off the differences of the liveries of these cars better than any other angle.
Yeah, it really does. It's a beautiful shot there, looking down at turn 1 and turn 2. And a quick glimpse there at the Iron Dames getting ready for action in FP3. And this is down turn 8, one of the slowest corners on the track. Quite a heavily serrated curb on the left-hand side. You want to avoid that for reliability reasons more than any. If you change gear over these heavy serrated curbs, not such the case on the exit of turn 10 here, but especially out of turn 8, you can actually do damage to the drivetrain gearbox. You know, the differential can really takes its toll, and especially a punishing 8-hour race here. So you want to avoid that curb. Now you're in turn 11. You run up the hill, way steeper than the shots will make it look on screen. Through turn 12 there, the right-hander, before you pop out towards turn 13. You've got the hill on the inside of the corner, and that creates a bit of a spiral effect of wind, especially when the cars start to circulate more and more around the track. And so the balance around 13 is always quite tricky before you head back down the final straight before turn 14 there and 15 that Kevin Magnussen knows all too well from his F1 days. He watches his teammates at work.
All 36 cars now on track in both classes. And, we've already seen pace coming in FP1 from Aston Martin, and in the second session from the BMWs, but the winners last time out, not this car but this team, and they've come in with their Dandrop in the Alpine Endurance team. They're amongst a gaggle of manufacturers that will be presenting, testing, how can we put this, changes to their cars for 2026.
Yeah.
With, for a variety of reasons, lots and lots of forethought going on to what is becoming an increasingly close-knit championship.
Well, we sort of talked a little bit during the season about who's coming in 2026, who else is coming in 2027, and these are all new programs, but what we haven't really sort of shown us the other side of that coin is that some of these cars are now 4 to 5 seasons old, and certainly in design and through racing terms, and Toyota are even older than that. So we're almost starting to get to some of these teams looking at what is going to be a Generation 2 car, because we know the rule set is going to continue till at least 2030. So if you introduce a new car for 26 or 27, you've still got time to really learn it, develop it, and still transform it into something really big.
Yep. Genesis coming next year, but for now we're going to concentrate on the cars that are here this weekend. It's the 21 Ferrari 296 GT3. So it's a car in championship contention this year.
These guys really struggling. We're talking to them yesterday, and Simon Mann, who was at the wheel there, all the drivers are saying, we've got no grip at all. The harder tyre that they've brought, that Goodyear have brought here for the higher temperatures, for the rear engine cars, they just can't get it into the zone where it's really generating the grip. And he said, in the high-speed stuff, it's just drifting, and that's not great news for tyre life, because as soon as the tyre starts to go sideways, it starts to overheat rather than bring heat in. So they're working on that. The front engine cars, it's less of an issue, and that's predominantly the Mercedes, the Aston Martin, the BMW, but mid-engine and rear engine cars are struggling a little bit with that.
Well, I would say all 3 cars that are in championship contention are either rear, in the case of the first form Montai Porsche, or this car, the 81 TF Sports Corvette, the 21 Ferrari, are either rear or mid-rear engine cars. So hopefully that evens out. But does that mean they'll be scrabbling for scraps at the top end of the point scoring? That would be favourable towards the car that currently leads the championship, and that's the Porsche.
Well, it's always hard to tell, isn't it? Because qualifying, you think, oh, wow, those guys have got so much pace, you're never going to catch them. But the races have a way of working very differently. And you think all the way back to Qatar, another 8-hour race beginning of the season, the winners started 17th or 16th. You know, so it's...
And this
everything
race,
is possible.
This race more than any as well, I'd say, with the exception of Le Mans, of course. This track really rewards a car that is there on race pace. So although it's exciting to look at the top of the timesheets, and naturally we'll do the same thing again even in this FP3 session, what really counts is how your car, the long runs count more in this session for who picks up that winner's trophy tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, that matters more, and that's why they're pounding around now, doing the homework, getting that groundwork in on finding out the best balance that will take you through that race, that ever-changing race as well, being an 8-hour race. It's so hard to satisfy 3 drivers with the balance of the car that you all come to an agreement with that you feel will be the best car for the race, not necessarily for qualifying.
Absolutely right. And part of the excitement here, Anne, is it's 2 different battles. We're on board now the 51 car. They are the championship leading car in hypercar, head of the 83, the AF Corse, the privately entered car, then the 6 Porsche, then the number 12 Caddy. All those 4 could still win, but it's not necessarily those 4 that might be at the head of this race at the end of 8 hours tomorrow. And there, with the rampant form of the Aston Martin Valkyrie, with race-winning form from Alpine, and with very strong form as well from the Peugeots, it's anybody's race.
I was going to get you to commit to an Aston Martin win here, Graham, but I'm not sure you're going to do that. On board with Matt Campbell and the defending, or 2 of the defending champions. So the number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsport 963, maybe a slight outlier, but yeah, so was Toyota and Sebastian Buemi last year for the Manufacturers' Championship, and they still won it. Well, let's catch up with one of the rookie drivers who we're going to see this weekend. Bruce Ioani is down in the garage.
Yes, as we were saying earlier, here Bahrain is, with the rookie test, the welcoming of new drivers and new faces. Not completely new, because you were part of the team before, but now that's it, you're here for the race, finally. Théo Pourchaire on the 94. How big is this for you?
It's, as I said a few times, first big opportunity of my career since I won the Formula 2 Championship in 2023. So I'm just super happy, super proud to be here. A big thanks to Team Peugeot Total Energy, because yeah, I'm going to give my best. The team welcomed me very well. I feel confident, I feel ready. So yeah, ready to give my best.
Excellent. Just coming back here specifically in Bahrain, it's super hard on the tire. How did it go yesterday?
Yesterday was a pretty smooth day from outside. No issues with the cars, and I learned a lot. Of course, I still have a lot to learn in this championship. But overall, yeah, we will tune a bit the setup of the car for today for tire degradation. Bahrain is very tough on the rear tires especially. I know it very well from Formula 3 and Formula 2, but hypercar is much heavier, much quicker as well. I mean, more powerful than in Formula 2, so it's a bit different to drive. But yeah, I love it. I think you can see my smile on my face every time. So yeah, I really can't wait to jump in the car today and give my best.
Excellent. Well, enjoy the weekend and good luck.
Thank you.
Big smile from Théo Pourchaire, and why wouldn't you have a big smile on your face? And not exactly a stranger to endurance racing either, Graham, because he's been in LMP2 all season long.
And impressively in LMP2 all season long, learning the endurance racing game. In particular, you know, we say this all the time, but in particular, and this process of not making mistakes about what is a fiercely complicated rule book. We've seen Théo doing it as a driver, we've seen Genesis doing it as a team in LMP2, but that's a key part of the discipline.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what Théo can do. You know, he's a great driver. Anyone that can win the F2 Championship, you know, they're going to be a mighty fine racing driver. And you can bring a lot of those skills, albeit it's a very different category, this, in the World Endurance Championship. You can bring a lot of those skills that you've learned over the years into this. So yeah, one of those drivers we'll definitely keep an eye on this weekend and also into the future. With those cars, you can see on screen there briefly, the 2 Peugeots.
Both going very slowly, with the Corvette and the 83 Ferrari hoving up behind them at high speed. 51 Ferrari briefly in the pit lane. And during this session, at some stage, Anthony, we probably are going to see most of these cars doing a qualifying simulation run. Qualifying a little later in the afternoon, track temperatures will be higher, but they will have to try and get their heads around it. They will already have nominated and decided on who is going to do the qualifying session for them. So that will be part of the program.
There's the point situation for the Hypercar Manufacturers Championship. And we were discussing this before we came to air, and Davidson, this is one highly prized by those manufacturers.
It certainly is, but also complicated by the fact you mentioned earlier on, Graham, in that the competition, generally speaking, in WEC this year has tightened up. especially in the hypercar category. So that makes that championship fight even more important in terms of being in front of others that can rob points of you. So it's fascinating to see how that will unfold this weekend.
And what look like some fairly large gaps when you think 25 for a win are smaller because it's 38 for a win, because it's points and a half, and you have two cars scoring, and that's a big blow for the Iron Dames. That is a very disappointing moment for Célia Martin.
So on the exit of turn 2, I think they might have just lost the rear on the exit. Traction coming out of turn 2 there, especially if you're on cold tyres. We see that quite often. There's a tricky exit curb as well.
She's moving in the car, and actually the car disassembles quite quickly. The wings come off separately, the nose comes off, so actually she might not have done a lot of damage.
It might have been a bit of a brush, I wouldn't be surprised. So there she goes.
Yeah, so it's on the exit of turn 2, you get onto that curb on the outside. So it's gone straight in. So that's, I think, if they're lucky, that's the only damage they're going to sustain there from that front splitter.
All the cooling system is around behind that bodywork, so that will be an issue. Rahel Frey, as you can see, was ready to get in the car, so that wasn't an outlap for Célia Martin.
Just trying to see how many laps were on the board. Only best lap was done on lap 4.
That was, yeah, so that was maybe another push lap for her.
And
because, of course,
4 total.
as the bronze driver, she may have been even on a quali sim at that stage.
Don't think there'll be barrier damage there, but they did move the tyres. They'll take a look at that and the banding that secures those tyres. Might be just a slight delay while they take a look at that, but clearly it's about making sure they can get to Célia, get to the car, that everything is okay to continue.
So they do have traction control, people wondering out there. Yes, the LMGT3 category, they do have ABS, anti-lock brakes, and they also have traction control, but you want to run both of those as kind of loose as you can get away with, for them not kind of getting in the way of the driver's inputs quite as much, so you can still actually spin the wheels despite the car having traction control, and that's what we saw on the exit there. Probably a combination of her running over the curb a bit too much as well. Like I said before, in the exit of turn 8, that can rob you of a bit of traction, especially when the car's kind of laterally loaded at the same time. So, yeah, she gets going again. Hopefully that bodywork stays intact. I think it will, but you just got to limp back home now.
Well, better to do it now in free practice than in qualifying. In qualifying, you would not be allowed to rejoin the session, having brought out the red flag. But as long as the car is okay, they will be.
No sort of fluid leaking from that car, which is a very good piece of news. May just well, I think you might be right, that could just be a little bit of bodywork and maybe some sub-assembly behind that. They're certainly getting parts ready to go.
But you can see how convoluted it is, because they've got a floor assembly there. They are separate entities, but they're bringing them out just in case.
And it looked like they did detach the, so what I would call the front bumper from the front splitter. So I think they're thinking what we are as well, and it's literally just that front bumper section if they're lucky.
Well, let's catch up with one of our championship contending crews at AF Corsa.
Well, I just bumped into Robert Kubica in the paddock just here, our Le Mans winner and contender for this weekend. Is it more comfortable to be running second and chasing, or the opposite?
For sure, it's better to be in front. I mean, especially when you have a lot of points advantage, it's always easier to manage than chasing. Probably there is less pressure when you are behind, but of course I would prefer to be in front, but that's how it is. I mean, realistically anyway, we have to focus on ourselves, and then yeah, and the target is of course to execute the best race we can.
Is pole position important with the points this weekend? Are you going to focus on that as well?
Well, we would like to contend also to start in the first row, but I think for us this is not the case. This is not the target, so we're mainly focusing for the race.
Okay, thank you, and very good luck for the weekend.
Thank you.
Anthony, better to be ahead. There's a man who grew up watching Prost and Senna in F1.
Yeah, just about, but I think he did, yeah.
Here we have it, Jensen Button. This is your final professional race, and we're back here in Bahrain, where you took that infamous win in 2009. Feels like full circle. How special is it for you?
It's great. You know, I've always enjoyed this track. It's not the easiest track. I think everyone's finding it tough out there. The deg's always quite high, but that's what what makes a good racetrack, I think.
Your helmet this weekend is pretty special. It's a nod to your incredible career. Can you talk us through the story behind the design?
Yes, I can. Do you want me to show you?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So this is my helmet for my last race. And normally I've got a design that's kind of followed me through my career with the JB on the side, which you can kind of see. It's not very easy with this beautiful bit of plastic on my helmet for the air duct. But yeah, so the reason for this color and this design is my dad, when I was racing in go-karts, he designed this helmet. So when we didn't have helmet designers back in the 80s, my dad decided to paint it black and put these like horns on the top. And he purposely did that to scare all the other kids. So when they were looking behind and I was coming up behind them, they got scared of the black helmet coming towards them. So I guess it worked. So yeah, so it's a bit of a nod to that, and it incorporates my current design as well. So it looks really cool, and it's got a lot of interest actually in it. I think from people that I raced with back in the day, you know, Anthony Davidson, he'll remember this helmet, and many others. So yeah, it's for me, it's a nice moment because full circle, but also because it was designed originally. My original design was by my dad.
Yeah, that's nice, and that nice concept of the fact that it's not just special to you, it'll be special to other people who are looking at it. Tell me your feeling this weekend when you get behind the wheel. Is it still the same buzz that you have always had? Is there something that feels very different this weekend for you?
No, it's the same. You know what? Motorsport, there's always a lot of hanging around. There's a lot of engineering meetings. There's a lot of simulator work and prep. So the moment you get in the car, it's great every time. So you know, every moment in this car is fun. As I said, it's not easy around here with the deck that we have. Everyone has, and the high temps. But still, you make the best of it, and you get the best out of it, and that's what we're here to do. And it doesn't change whether it's your first race or your last race. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy myself. I think I've probably got about 75 laps left in this car, and that's it. So I need to sort of savor every one of them. But you know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the race. I'm looking forward to Saturday evening when I jump out of the car and it's the end as well. So you just got to be positive, and there's so much to look forward to in life, and I'm only 45, so I'm still a baby.
Ah, you're a wee spring chicken. Well, whatever happens, I'm sure you'll go out in true style. Thanks, Jensen. Have a great one.
Anthony, he's doing exactly what you had the opportunity to do, deciding. It's not been forced on him, he's not being pushed out, he's not being replaced. He's got to the stage where he wants to spend more time with his wife, with his kids, doing other things, enjoying other bits of life. He's got that opportunity to make the choice as you did, and that makes it entirely within your own hands. Let's take a look here at what happened to the Iron Dames. What was going on there? Oh, that was... right. Was there some of that marker maybe stuck under the car? Because when she's going off there, it looks like the front wheel's not locking up at all.
It was before the impact. The two cars behind her, there was some debris on the track.
That was down to 14, 15.
Looked like she'd picked up some polystyrene marker board, which I can't believe would have resulted in the spin on the exit of turn 2. But yeah, so you can see that the work carries on there. But to answer your question, Marston, on Jensen's retirement, yeah, it's a bizarre feeling. It's strange for me to see someone that I've raced against my whole life retiring at the same track, driving for the same team.
Yes.
That I chose. It's quite strange. I mean, we've known each other and raced against each other since we were 8-year-old kids. We're the same age. Well, I'm a half a year older than him. So yeah, it's quite a surreal moment for me as well to see that helmet design come back out. And when he said, yeah, kids would have been intimidated looking at the spears, the front of the helmet there, but don't forget I was usually looking at the back of it, so I wasn't intimidated at all.
Well,
that's a dig at myself, not hitting back,
in the days when almost everybody just had a plain white helmet. There's Celia Martin.
She's fine. Yeah, she's fine.
Let's get down to the garage, because actually we've seen him, but we haven't really heard much from him. Bruce, you've got a little bit more on the Iron Dames.
Yeah, well, yes, well, I heard you guys talking about the fact that she might have hit something on the track, but no, she just actually lost it. Nothing, no debris were hit before. And they're still fixing the car. They are actually looking at the front splitter, and they will need to be a replacement there. And also they have to look at the wheels, because the hit was pretty strong, actually.
Okay, thank you for that.
One quick update. We got a really brief shot there of the number 12 Cadillac. and the car controller at the front, Bob Friend, who is, by the way, Jota employee #1, the very first man that ever came to work for Jota. His final race as the car controller. He's going to be moving on to another role within the team, and a new role with Jota. That's great news. He's been such a big part. You'll remember Bob, I'm sure, throughout all of your time there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Fantastic character and incredible at what he does as well. And the whole team's like that. You know, you can see from the way they operate is top class, and that's why they've gone from privateer to now a full factory works team. They've got the honour of running the Cadillac brand, you know, and that doesn't come through chance.
Yeah.
That's the team that Jota are, but they've still got that quirky side, that humorous side, like we saw with the pit board,
yes.
with the lollipop. Is, you know, wait for it, sunshine, or whatever it said. You know, it's just their humour comes out, and that's what I love about that team.
There's a lot of that comes from Bob, comes from Sagnay, that comes from David Clark and the ownership team behind Jota, and it's another part of the special thing that makes sports car racing just so endearing. On board now with Alex Riberas, the 009 Aston Martin. Well, here's a moment, gentlemen. We've seen rampant form from these Aston Martins, both here in the WEC and with, you know, a race contending run at the end of Petit Le Mans in North America just a couple of weekends ago. Have they got a chance here? Have they got a shot?
I think they've got a chance at pole position. They've been in the top 2 in both sessions so far here, and their speed has been improving all season long. When I think back to how the car performed, but more so how it looked from the onboards in Qatar, the round 1, it was a knife edge to say the least, and a white knuckle ride for all the drivers on board. I almost felt sorry for them. But here, and the last couple of races, the car's been getting stronger and stronger, and they're clearly working it out, finding where the car needs to run to be in its happy place.
I completely agree with you. Long conversation earlier this season with George Howard Chappell, key man behind the running of this team, the development of the car, and he told me very early this season we expect to see a big change, a big leap up the form from Brazil. That has been exactly the case. Some of that has been fairly binary in terms of the way in which they operated the car. A lot of it, and it's the hidden part of this hypercar formula, software.
It is software. I mean, there would be a lot of people out there saying, oh, and they've had, obviously it will be the balance of performance that turned in their favour, but you don't find, and the rules don't allow for that much performance gain from where they were in Qatar to now. BOP can't do that. It can't cater for a car getting lapped multiple times through a race to suddenly being a contender for pole position. It's not that strong. I think that's for the fans to understand. It's a tweak. Yep. It's a fettle compared to a seismic change. So they've genuinely found speed in that car. It's a ground effects car, as we know, the Valkyrie. It needs to run low, therefore it needs to run quite stiff, similar to the Peugeot, and they've had their struggles with that concept. So I think they've found a clever way to start unlocking that aerodynamic performance from the car.
And it's all of the other things. It's what do you know about the tyres coming in? Nothing.
Exactly.
So you have to learn the tyre, what works best on your car from that tyre, and Michelin can't tell you because they know nothing about the car either. So it's all that learning process we've seen from everybody else. Season 1 is about collecting the data, diagnosing what you need to do, and trying to move on. Marco Sorensen doing exactly that, it would seem, but on the phone, one of our hypercar drivers, and he may well be the guy who's going to be in with a shot for pole. And again, you know, the car is certainly a potential podium finisher now at the end of its first season, and that's really reassuring for anybody else who's developing a program, that the experience of the top running teams is not keeping them out of reach.
It was interesting just riding on board there actually through turn 12 and 13. Had to go past a car around the outside, did Riberas, of turn 12, but this is the shot I want to see, just the hand movements on the steering wheel. It looked much calmer than where we were in this car early in the year. The drivers look more comfortable. It seems like they can predict what the car's about to do. A bit of lift and coast going on there before turn 1, so you're focusing on race trim here, but comfortably, I'd say, keeping up with the Works Porsche at this point.
And the other thing, happy on the curbs now, which it fundamentally wasn't in Qatar. Riding the curbs there, that became something of a big issue. Now, is going toe-to-toe, door-to-door, wheel-to-wheel, and the door stayed on as well.
And currently 4th quickest. Ferrari's number 50 car fastest. The 83 car, the championship contending yellow AF Corsa car, is currently 4th quickest. The points leading 51 Ferrari, 18th and currently slowest in this session in hypercar. 21 Ferrari, Francois Heriot on board the car. And this car currently 2nd fastest with the 61 Mercedes. Again, talk about development. The Mercedes, the AMG Mercedes, has definitely become a very different car in the later stages of this season than it was at the beginning of the year. An extra 9 minutes added to the session. There's not an awful lot of extra track time being used, so that'll come out of the lunch hour. And we will start qualifying as expected at 3:45 we'll be on air, local time, 12:45 GMT to begin our qualifying show. Qualifying will start at 1300.
Johnny Edgar on board the TF Sport number 33 car. Johnny will be moving on from this car next year, and in slightly unfortunate circumstances, he was regraded to gold by the FIA. Understand that actually that was reversed back to silver, but not in time for him to not to be replaced in that car for next year. So,
wow, the driver categorization system there at play. So had been moved to, I wasn't aware of that, Graham, been moved to a gold
and then back.
And the reason that's important is that the rules in LMGT3 for the World Endurance Championship is that an LMGT3 car must have 1 bronze and must have 1 silver. The other driver can be bronze, silver, gold or platinum, but you must have at least 1 bronze graded and 1 silver graded. So as he was graded as a gold, that pushed him out of being useful to the team, and so they had to find somebody else. But then he's argued the toss, and the board have brought him back down to a silver. So he will be available, but just not at home in the TF Sport car. So this is 54 Ferrari, the Thomas Floor car.
That is Thomas Floor at the wheel, so a bit of a spin. Now, I wonder if he was just put off there by the Aston that went wide as well through turn 9. Then you try and get on the power, and as I talked about before, you do have traction control. You could just hear it kicking in under my voice there, but it just wasn't enough. And is there enough room given there? Oh, that was close, wasn't it, for a free practice session? But it's important for the hypercars to get the job done in that chicane. So we see one of the Alpines going wide now in turn 9. Strange, because that's where you have the headwinds. They're coming into the headwind there.
7 kilometres an hour, that's more of a head light breeze.
But it's important in the turn 6 and 7, the chicane, where we saw the Peugeot squeeze past the GT car. It's important to get past there because you can carry so much more speed than them in a more medium speed part of the circuit.
51 Ferrari, Anthony, back up from 17th to 7th quickest now.
Yeah, they've looked quick enough this weekend so far. I really think they've been focusing more towards race pace. Haven't seen many shiny laps from them in terms of ultimate fastest times. That was definitely too close and too late. I think the Alpine thought the 77 was going to run a bit wider than it did. And there's the hit from on board. He wouldn't be impressed with that. He was driving the 77.
30 Habsburg.
No, the 77.
77 is in the hands at the moment of Ben Tuck.
Yeah, Ben Tuck would not be impressed with that move. Oh! A little bit of
offering him a coffee.
Anglo-Saxon hand gesturing. Running on board with Antonio Giovinazzi, leading the standings.
So here is that medium speed right and left that I talked about, turn 6 and 7. And you want to get on power briefly down the hill towards turn 8 here. You hear the regen going on that front axle of the Ferrari, that whining noise. Then you're accelerating, avoid the curb on the exit of 8 like we talked about before. Use a bit of the curb on the right before that tricky braking into turn 9, and then there's turn 10. Just kiss the curb on the inside, get the car nice and squared up like he did on the acceleration phase to minimize any loss of traction. And then all eyes on the marker boards on the right, brake at the 100, ease the car into turn 11. You've got the tailwind behind you, and that's what picked up the understeer there. Do you see the car didn't want to turn? That's as he turns through the corner and the tailwind's behind the car. Through turn 12, you have the tailwind as well. Into 13, the same thing. slow it all down. See the graphics on the right-hand side, second gear only for that corner. And then you're accelerating, use a curve on the outside, but be careful of track limits. And then down towards the final corner. It looks like he's getting ready for a pit stop here, because he goes to the helmet, so he's unplugged the radio and he's put that onto the top of the helmet there, the Velcro part there, and then you'll peel off into the pit lane. Here we go. And then decelerate and hit the 60 kph pit speed limit button and cruise to the pit box. And we're going to be expecting a driver change here.
Yeah, his
Meanwhile,
team
Carl,
manager.
yeah, 50, I've just seen that pop up on our screen as well, Martin.
Been summoned to the race director, not quite sure for which transgression.
Slow-mo of the car, riding the curbs beautifully.
It's interesting. I love watching the difference between the GT cars and the hypercars through that part of the track particularly, because you'll see the GTs take a lot more of that curve. They actually dip a wheel on the inside of both of them, the right and the left.
So work going on for the damaged Mustang after that hit.
Ben Tuck out of the car. You saw chatting with Ben Barker and Christian Reed.
Chris Reed, of course, at the centre of all sorts of speculation about what's going to happen with hypercar in the future for Porsche. Here is the number 6 car, still in the 5 car, my apologies.
It caught me out as well, though,
yes,
Graham.
indeed. Porsche, their final race in the WEC with the 963. The car having just run wide, there's the number 6. The 6 car still in the hunt for the World Championship. Porsche still in the hunt for the World Championship. And let's hear now from Timo Bernhard, team and driver advisor from Porsche Penske Motorsport. He's down in their garage with Bruce Shawani. I'm sure we'll get some of the inside track on the way they're approaching it right now.
I am at Team Penske with Timo Bernhard, the advisor for the team and the drivers, making the link between the team and drivers. Timo, what is the objective this weekend?
Well, the objective is really that we're going to fight for the Manufacturers' Championship and for the Drivers' title. At the moment, Car 6 is P3 in the Drivers' standings and Porsche P2 in the Manufacturers. So we give it all, for the last WEC race, to maybe clinch these titles.
Excellent. The last WEC race, can you tell us more about what's going to happen after? What is the future?
Well, at the moment, for sure, we focus on this race, to clinch these titles or to fight, with all our heart till the last lap. And then the project will continue in America, the IMSA project, where the project was super successful the last 2 years. And next week, I think there's already a test in Daytona. So full focus is on this championship in IMSA.
And for the drivers, because I know you have a very close link with the drivers. So those cars are stopping here. Will we see some 963s next year in WEC? Can you say more about this? And what is going to happen to them?
Well, I mean, this is still ongoing. For sure, I mean, we're a very strong driver roster at Porsche, and but Porsche always takes care about their drivers. It's for sure, but this we'll need to see.
Okay, thank you so much, and have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Timo diplomatically dodging the 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is the future for Porsche in endurance racing, Graham.
Well, the immediate future for Porsche Penske Motorsport is clear. They'll be racing on in GTP in the IMSA Championship. What might happen next year for Porsche lies likely at the feet of this garage. And no matter what you may have heard or read, I can tell you right now, this isn't done yet. There's a lot of pretty furious discussion going on amongst an awful lot of different parties, including some that perhaps aren't as publicly known, but very clear that at the moment, with the decision from Porsche, if we don't get 2, we won't have this one either, because they will not be permitted to carry on as a privateer with a single car. Should they find a way forward to campaign 2 and get the blessing of Porsche to do it, because that does bring with it some financial implications beyond running the cars, then this could carry on, and then you could get 3 Porsches at Le Mans with the IMSA championship winning car from this year.
Now, why would they not be allowed to run this one car, and does that have implications for AF Corsa's 83 Ferrari?
No, it doesn't, because the issue with the Porsche is that you wouldn't then have the 2-car manufacturer team on which you base the performance balancing, the balance performance system. So it is a manufacturer-led World Championship. That's where we are, that 2-car system. Yeah, much criticised, but let's face it, look at the entry list we've got for this, and 3 more factories we know that are coming, and by the way, likely more besides that to come in future years. Watch this space. but it's all about that fairness to the rest. There should be no advantage gained, if you like, or for that matter, disadvantages doled out, because you've not got the same basic data set as everybody else.
And so, without that manufacturer team, you can't have privateers running the cars in the same championship. So, as long as Ferrari stay, then they, of course, are golden. So, yeah, certainly you need that to happen.
With one proviso, by the way, that AF Corsa car, despite the fact there is sometimes justified cynicism, that car has to be funded. Has to be funded. Valentino Rossi getting ready to go.
He's got a lot of yellow on him.
He has indeed.
And has tested for Ferrari.
Yep, got the right passport.
Tested the Formula One car. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine the person at Maranello who gets his name on a contract to race a hypercar Ferrari? He would never have to work again. He'd never have to pay for a meal again, anywhere in Italy.
On board with Sebastian Boe, United Autosports. We said a little earlier in the broadcast, this their last racing weekend at LMGT3 before they move on to the development program for the incoming hypercar program for McLaren in 2027, not next year.
And it's been a long and illustrious history for United, particularly, of course, in LMP2, at Le Mans, in the championship. They've been such a successful team. And that's just looking at this championship without all the other stuff they've done, at European Le Mans and everywhere else.
And winning pretty much everywhere else. Dries van Toor on board there briefly with WRT. Yet more storylines there. Another team with an evolution of this car coming for 2026. The car has been quick. They've been looking for reliability in the latter part of this season, but a huge step for WRT next year, where they will run double programs at this level, both here in the World Endurance Championship and in North America for the first time.
Yeah, that's going to be a massive adventure for them, and you know they're such a, like Jota, they are such an ambitious team. They've got such strength in depth. You don't become the de facto Audi GT team from so many years with so much success by accident. Fabrizio Giovanardi, the 51 Ferrari, under investigation for an unsafe rejoin of the track. See the Mustang having work, 36 Alpine in the garage. The Alpine's not exactly sprinting around this morning.
Interestingly, work on the other side of the Mustang, the front right as well as the impact we saw there to the left, rear and centre of the car. The brief off-track moment we saw for the 35.
Anthony, from the onboard, it looked to me as a punter much less like a desperately late lunge and more that Ferdy was always committed to going down the inside and the Mustang ran wide anyway.
There were two different laps that we looked at. So the second one, the onboard that we saw was just the driver making a mistake and getting oversteer and running off the track, and then the BMW GT cars found its way by. But the first off-board shot was the clash between the two, and I haven't seen the run into it, but it just looks like the Mustang went a little bit wide to take a much later apex, and I think Habsburg thought that was an invitation to send it down the inside, and I think it was just a miscommunication by the two drivers there. But yeah, if you're going to pass blame to the reason for contact, in my opinion, was the Alpine, but I need to see more, the precursor to what happened there.
We saw a little earlier Alex chatting with Jensen Button, one of our, if you'll forgive me, our elder statesman in the top class and his final professional race. Here's the other end of the spectrum. Finn Gersitz aboard the Codis ASP 78 Lexus. The team will be back next year, but I think with some changes around, but not for the car, this car will race on, I believe, in 2026. Another of the emerging talents coming through the endurance racing ladder.
Mike Conway on board the number 7 Toyota, just heading towards the final corner. Still some of that debris, polystyrene debris, I think it is, before that turn 14. But the fastest time from the number 7 was set by Kobayashi on a brand new set of tyres before the Ferrari and the BMW. Yeah,
I was going to say that's 50.
Yeah, so he's just locked up there. He's gone for a move on the inside, and actually you get caught out by the GTs. They've got the ABS, that anti-lock braking system, helps them to brake very deep into the corner. So you'll never see the puff of white smoke come from a GT's tyre lockup like you would have done there from the non-ABS cars of the hypercars. So yeah, going back to Conway here, the fastest time set by that car. They're in P2 at the moment, for what it's worth. Kobayashi set that time at the start of the session on a brand new set of tyres. The 50 that's in front of them only had left-hand side new of mediums, but Kobayashi's were 3 tyres, so both rears and the front left were hard compound. The front right was the medium.
50 Ferrari now on used hards as well, so they're starting to use that hard tyre, whereas in the free practice 2, where it was cooler later yesterday afternoon, it was mediums all the way.
Exactly, so race start is going to be a little bit later than this, but around this kind of temperature in this intense sunshine that we have at the moment. So yeah, track temps will be close to their highest for the race start. That's why they're venturing onto the hard tyres now. When I say hard tyre, what I mean is that higher operating window of temperature that tyre is created for. The compounds are actually very similar, maybe exactly the same in terms of their softness, but the harder, as we say, the harder tyre, the red stripe tyre, is more well equipped for hotter temperatures.
We ought to call them hot, medium and cool, because that would be more accurate than hard, medium and soft. Just a quick mention while you are watching us. If you are watching us online, you can continue to do so at FIAWC.tv. A free subscription there will give you early access to the full access program from Bahrain as well. All the full access programs for this season are up on FIAWC.tv and on the WC YouTube site. But when the full access from Bahrain comes out on the 28th of November, 2 weeks from now, you'll be able to see it first on FIAWC.tv. As I say, subscription is free. You can also then, if you wish, pay for individual races or the season themselves. You'll get it in its entirety, ad and interruption free, along with free practice 3 and all the other clips, small features and social media output. And in addition to that, if you wish to just dial in for this weekend, €8.99 is the cost for the finale here in Bahrain. New front and rear bodywork going on to the 94 Peugeot. Peugeot's sort of in the middle of the field at the moment, Graham. Both cars in the top 10.
They are. The Mustang looks like bits have been buttoned on and ready to go. Yeah, absolutely right. Peugeot, lots of storylines for them, particularly the driver market side of things. All sorts of changes. We'll get to them when we get a good long look at the car in what's going to be an 8-hour race tomorrow. The storylines are in every single garage. It's about race wins. It's about the potential for championship wins. It's about next year. It's about new cars. There's going to be an evolution of this car, the Ford Mustang GT3 for next year. We see that publicly for the first time next week.
Tell me they're not changing the engine.
Oh, no.
Oh, good.
No.
Then they can do what they want to the car. No. Yeah, as long as they keep that thumping V8, then that's all good with me.
The pony will stay in saddle. Here, though, comes down pit lane the number 12 car. It come, as we said, under the control of our friend. His final weekend with the lollipop.
Car controller, obviously, as opposed to any other controller that might be headed in his direction. You talked about the socks they've got and the landmark that they are celebrating 25 years of Jota as a racing operation.
Yeah, started out with a program with a little Honda Integra touring car. Look where they are now. And by the way, for as long as I've been following this story, I can remember our friend and colleague Sam Smith pointing me in the direction of this team when they were racing a little previously, what was previously LMP2 formula, where Sam Hignett was the driver, in terms of their preparation even that far back.
We just saw down at Jota the car number 12 in the pits, and they're putting the yellow stripe medium tyre on. That'll be the first time that car's been on the mediums this session. Started on a full set of hards with Alex Lynn at the wheel, and then they put used hards on to get into their long runs. So yeah, quite an interesting program down there at Jota and car number 12. The car number 38 with Bourdais at the wheel, who we're right on board with now, they've also done the same thing with that car. Started on a brand new set of hards with Bamba, and then taken that through. Bourdais got in the car, they put a used set, all four, on, and then he's taken them on into a longer run.
There was some fun chat with Earl Bamber about being a teammate for Jensen Button. He said, obviously, you know, I watched him win in 2009. I watched him win in Formula One. It's been great fun to have him in the team. And he said, he might have retired full-time. He said, but we're definitely going to try and rope him back in. He said, get him in a Mazda race at the, you know, US Grand Prix or at Long Beach or somewhere. Just get him back into doing fun things. And Jensen's not saying, I'm never going to race again. He certainly wants to do things like the Goodwood Revival and events that are fun but don't take up the entire season.
One big difference over the helmet design and the driver you can see standing in the garage there compared to when he was a kid wearing that helmet design. He's now obviously wearing glasses. And I can laugh because I have to as well.
For legal reasons, I am required to mention that the Jota socks, which are not fireproof, are not being worn by the team today because they have to have their fireproofs on.
Well, of course. You know, like I said, it's always performance first with Jota, but they like to have a bit of fun as well.
So it's the same for our pit reporters. They have to have a fireproof suit and fireproof underwear. 38 coming. This apparently is news to our pit crew. 38 heading into the pit lane this time round, Sebastian Bourdais, and he will remain with the Cadillac operation.
Yeah, and by the way, they're another operation that will see I think quite mild evolution of the aero on that car for next season, but it's been there and getting involved in the sharp end throughout this year. Aboard now with Loic Duval, up behind the Valkyrie, very different lines through on this lap. Aston Martin's 009 fourth quickest in this session, down the hands of Roman De Angelis. No tyre data apparently on that car at the moment.
I can tell you a little bit about the number 12 caddy. The mediums on the number 12 are from yesterday and are
well used.
Yes, well used. Quite tired. Yes. That's the word I'm looking for. So they're doing a short cold tyre run before putting Norman Nato in on a slightly better used red set. And this is all part of learning how to operate the car. So we talked about this a little bit with Aston Martin. What does it do on new tyres? That's one thing. What can you do with an old tyre? What is it going to do on a second stint? Can you third stint it? You know, all these things you have to discover, and you can't do endless testing. You only discover it in race weekends.
Actually, you just saw the 94 Peugeot overtaking the 009 Aston Martin. I wondered what the tyre difference was, but the 94, as far as I can see, started on a full set of brand new mediums with Melter Jakobsen. And then they've taken those through the entire way. So they're on very old tyres to catch and pass the Aston there, who as well are on older tyres, and they actually started on a full set of used mediums and have just changed the front to another set of used. So if anything, had a slight tyre advantage over the Peugeot, so that's quite interesting there.
I am next to François Herriot, driver of the Vista AF Corse, contender for the championship this weekend. How does it look? I heard you were talking yesterday about the tire hard compound not suiting the Ferrari very well.
Yeah, for sure. The hard compound is much more designed for front-engine cars, so it doesn't help us a lot. But I mean, our main contenders, Porsche and Corvettes, they are the same kind of cars as us. So we are all in the same boat, and we have all the same weapons to fight with. So let's hope for a good end result.
So you can still make it?
Yeah, of course. We believe a lot that we can make it. So we are all focused.
Okay, good luck for the weekend then. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Francois has been quite a force. There are the points, 11 points adrift here. It's going to be an awful lot to do with, well, a little bit of racing luck. Maybe, as we saw in Fuji, where the cautions sit. One quick word about Francois Herriot. He's going to be here on Sunday at the rookie test, testing a Montai Porsche. There's a lot been written, supposed that might mean a change for Francois next year in the WEC. I believe not. Plan A is stay with AF Corse. It's a great change going on, that car. But what I believe that's about is practice for the Asia Le Mans Series, where he will be with Montai. And he, like a lot of the gentleman drivers in LMGT3, keen to sample the other cars if he can. And he's taking the opportunity of the Asia Le Mans Series with those 6 4-hour races to do exactly that with what has been a pretty dominant car in this formula, the 911 GT3R and to understand a little bit more about the enemy, if you like.
Yeah, interesting, and what an opportunity as well for a driver to, you know, when you are effectively a customer, you can go wherever you want. It's such an intriguing situation where you can go and try out the other cars and see what they've got and whether you'd fancy driving one of them instead.
Well, you know, here's a man that's done that down through the years. You know, it's traditionally, I think we had, it was some time before he drove the same car on 2 consecutive years at Le Mans. That was the Aston Martin.
And he doesn't just drive different cars; he drives different categories as well within the same season.
And within the same race.
Same race
Since,
weekend.
Rolex 24. He's habitually been in 2 cars in 2 different classes.
I can't get my head around that.
The only bronze driver to have raced a hypercar, by the way, in GTP in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Well, here's the 51 Ferrari championship leader. James Calado is at the wheel.
I am here with the man himself, Alessandro Pierguidi of car 51. A vital weekend. This is where you could make history. Tell us what are you learning at the moment from this session?
We are just doing our usual job, to be honest. We are trying to prepare the weekend as best as we can. This track is always a compromise between performance and let's say degradation during the stint. We will try to find the best compromise, understand which is the better tire, where is the crossover between the tire. Quite a lot of job. So far is doing quite okay. I think we are not bad, and we will see.
What sort of car do you feel like you've handed over to James?
Sorry?
What sort of car do you feel like you've handed over to James?
At the end, we just keep doing the program. We didn't change a lot between me and James on the car. We are changing. We are doing put mileage on the tire. Basically, is what we are doing in this session. That actually is the one that is the hottest session and is, let's say, the less close to the condition of the race. So it's not the most important. The most important session was yesterday night. That we tried the best. Now we are trying to use the tire we had and the tire we still have from yesterday.
Great. Grazie mille.
Yeah, really interesting there from Pierguidi, and I looked at the tyres that they started this session on, a set of used hards, and then they went to a brand new left-hand side of medium and an old set on the right-hand side, an old right-hand side of medium, and they've taken that through to these long runs, and that's the car he then handed over to James Calado, who's at the wheel now. So that's why they're down there in 7th place, our championship leaders in car 51. But yeah, a great interview there by Alessandro, because he's saying this part of the day is important for the start of the race and for understanding which tyre compound we start the race on. And then last night's session was the most important. What he meant there, what he missed out, most important for qualifying preparation, because that's where we're going to be later on today. The sun will set, the temperatures will start coming down, and that's when you focus on the true one-lap performance on the car. And on top of that, saying, well, it's all a compromise, because there's such extreme temperatures and conditions that we're facing here. You see the Alpine just run wide, and we're preparing for a full course yellow. But yeah, great interview there by Pierguidi. So yeah, he gave a lot of insight for the fans listening in.
And of course, the other thing that's important about the darkness is that's where it is at the death. And we've seen the championship won by Calado and Pierguidi on the very final lap of the final race here in Bahrain in the GTE Pro category. It's often been a title decider, and those guys know how to win in a clinch in a 51 crew. They won Le Mans despite a car that wasn't entirely healthy right at the very end. Are they going to win Le Mans for a 4th time in 2026? If you want to be there to find out, tickets are on sale today, the 7th of November. If you haven't bought one, if you have not bought tickets this weekend, I can tell you without doubt you will not get them. That's what the full course yellow is for. So tickets on sale for 2026 Le Mans 24 hours now. 14 minutes in the session. Get the laptop out and start logging in now. Listen to us in the background. Honestly, Pierre, the president of the FIA, was at the BRDC dinner at the beginning of the year and saying that in less than 24 hours they sold out this year's 24 Hours of Le Mans.
I'll slightly correct you. President of the ACO.
President of the ACO,
the ACO. It's the
yeah.
French organisation.
Yeah, so tickets are on sale, and for all the other races as well, but particularly Le Mans is going to go overnight, before overnight.
What a remarkable era for the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and for the World Endurance Championship, and for sports car racing as a whole, because people are coming through the turnstiles at remarkable rates. Back to green flag running, 13.5 minutes to go, still the number 50 car. This car, in the hands of this man, Miguel Molina, leads the way in terms of the times of this session, a 1:49.725, 12 thousandths of a second quicker than Nick de Vries in the number 7 car. That's just a pass on track on the number 5 Porsche.
Anthony and I are both chuckling because as they went back to green, he cheekily snuck out of the pit lane and stopped right in front of the other 2 cars. Just, oh, there you go. It's all part of that little, gamesmanship that's going on. It had no impact on anything, but it was just, okay, that was excellent timing by the team. And that shows why Ferrari are where they are, because they're so sharp with everything.
I'm glad you spotted what I spotted as well. It's good, he's straight out the pits and wanted a bit of track position there, because maybe he feels he might have the faster car later on with 12 minutes to go, and you don't want that dirty air. And these cars really do get affected by the turbulence, even on a slower speed circuit like this one with predominantly slow speed corners.
I wonder what we're going to be talking about in terms of the role of this number 50 car by the end of the race tomorrow, because whilst that cannot win the championship, it most certainly can make life difficult for everybody else.
Hang on a minute, that's one championship. It definitely can help Ferrari win the championship. And Ferrari's drivers in the 51 car or in the 83 car, both sets want to be the drivers' champion. But Ferrari, the overriding concern is to be Endurance World Championships for the first time since 1972. All right, and that was Andretti and Diadamic?
Andretti, X was involved with that, Raikkonen was involved with that, Peterson was involved with that.
Andretti Diadamic actually popped into my head because he was racing at that stage and actually passed away earlier during the week. But yeah, so it's a half century since Ferrari have had a World Championship sports car title. That would be huge.
And you unwittingly mentioned something in that exchange about the Drivers' Championship, which could come into play, which is the 83 is in the offing for the Drivers' Championship. It doesn't score manufacturers' points. What happens at the end of that race in all sorts of circumstances with all 3 of those cars?
Well, let's say, for instance, that 83 wins and one of the other Ferraris is second. 83 doesn't take those points.
No, it doesn't.
They still go to the top manufacturer's car, so it's invisible as far as manufacturers' point standings are for all of the manufacturer cars, but in terms of drivers, it is 83 versus 51, and that's very much how the 83 will see it.
93 car on pit lane. All sorts of driver shenanigans have been aboard at Peugeot. They've confirmed we're going to be saying goodbye to Mikkel Jensen after this race. We've already seen Theo Pourchaire, but the most remarkable story for me, Davidson, is Stoffel van Dorn. Stoffel announced his leaving. Was expected to go to Genesis. This was all tied in with some shenanigans in the Formula E paddock. That all didn't quite come together for him. So now he's back for 2026, and Jean-Eric Verne will be stepping back, principally to develop both the new Peugeot that we believe is coming, but more than that, the new Citroën Formula E car.
It's the most fascinating part is the last bit in that. Jean-Eric Verne, who I thought was probably the #1 driver there at Peugeot, the most integrated within that team, steps aside for Stoffel van Dorn while he focuses on next year's car development. I can't get my head around that really, but I'm sure they all came, it was a mutual decision.
Is Jeff just desperate to be Formula E champion again? Who knows? And what's happening at Toyota? Well, we found out this week, didn't we, that Mike Conway has confirmed he's been re-signed for next year, or team have. So that's very good news indeed for their continued consistency, because consistency of driver lineup is a huge factor there.
It is. 2 penalties, by the way, 9 minutes to go. Car 46, the BMW from WRT, 5-minute stop and go for red flag procedures. What I missed, of course, is the reason that 93 is on pit lane is that's got the identical penalty. It's a 5-minute stop and go for a red flag procedural thing. A moment for Toyota, by the way. So Toyota, this race last year, we saw an absolutely spellbinding world-class performance from Sebastian Buemi to clinch that team the Manufacturers World Championship. It could not be more different here this weekend. We've seen pictures of the new look car. You saw that, I think, for the first time this weekend. Very different look to the car, we believe, for next season. No official announcement of that car from Toyota widely yet. But if they don't win this weekend, that will be the first time since 2015 that Toyota have failed to win a race in the World Endurance Championship. That's a pretty remarkable run and a pretty remarkable indication, Ant Davidson, of where their form hasn't been in 2025.
Yeah, and I think it's probably why why we've seen those shots of a very different looking car in the run up towards next season. So that, you know, the competition has come. It's entered the World Endurance Championship more than ever before, and they've taken the fight to Toyota and knocked them off their perch, particularly this year. Just going back to that penalty that we saw, with just 7.5 minutes remaining now for the car number 46. They better get that done. I don't know if they're in the pits right now, but they better get it done, because otherwise that penalty might carry on through to the next session, i.e. qualifying. I'm sure they will.
Ben Barney, co-driver for the Lexus team Acodis ASP. It seems to be working pretty well for you guys now because it's a front-ended car. What could you do this weekend?
Yeah, so far so good. We were, I think, P3, FP1, P1, FP2, and P3 now. Sorry, P2 now. As you said, whenever we go to the hard compound tire, you see all the front-engine cars take a big step. Seems to work better for us for some reason. And, you know, the team here doing a great job. We'll have to see. Obviously, 8-hour race, very long way to go. I think we're expecting Mercedes to be the strongest. Their second stint pace looks much better than any other car at this moment in time. But like I said, 8 hours, a lot of stuff can happen, and looks like we're kind of in the top 3 for pace, one lap and long run. So we'll give it a good shot.
Excellent. But you've got the race to come, which is one focus, but there's also the rookie test, and you're going to be driving with Toyota. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, obviously it's been a challenging year for me, you know, missing a lot of the season, and things didn't go so smoothly. So to end the year with that way, you know, to get the opportunity to drive again, it's the second time I've done the rookie test with Toyota. I did it in 2023, so a huge honor. That's the step that, you know, I want to take in my career. So hopefully it goes well, and see what the future holds.
Fingers crossed for you. Have a good long weekend then. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see Ben Barnicoat back on form. Really horrible start to his year. I mean, a huge talent in sports car racing. He will, for the second time, be driving the Toyota hypercar on Sunday, but massive accident on a bike on a kind of backwoods trail that could have been so much worse. But it's great that he's back. A third car now with 5-minute stop and go, and we've got 5 minutes and 19 seconds to go. The 46 BMW is on pit lane. The 93 is just left after serving its 5 minutes penalty. But unless that 59 car gets to pit lane, well, within the next 7 seconds, they're not going to be able to serve that in their session.
Here we go. Look, he's going into the pit lane now. You saw the orange and black in the McLaren. It's behind the timing pylon in the pit lane, and 4 minutes 54 seconds. Now, that is good. They did not effectively give them the opportunity to serve that penalty.
I think there's a balance view potentially to be taken here.
Yeah.
They took that penalty at the first available opportunity, and they were 6 seconds short of it. My view would be that it would be a fair comment to say they've lost out the last 5 minutes of this session. They did not gain from those 6 seconds in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, I'd agree to that. You don't have to be stopped in your box physically to miss those last final 5 minutes of the sessions. We see a replay there of the action that took place earlier on with the hit of the Iron Dames on the exit of turn 2.
Car returned to the pit lane, a quick fix, and is back out again. While Fry is actually circulating in the car. Don't think Michelle Gatting has been in. In fact, the car's now back in the pit lane. Yeah, okay, there we go. Rahal Fry out. And Celia getting back in. Celia will start qualifying for the team, so this is important now for her to get back onto the horse that threw her. So she will do the first part. In qualifying for LMGT3, the bronze driver must do the first session, the first 15-minute session where everybody is in, and then your silver graded driver, if you get through into hypercar, does that. Hyperpole does that. In terms of hypercar, anybody can do anything. And they tend nobody's yet swapped in a different driver for the hyperpole in the season. Anyway, so in LMGT3, it is the Mercedes and the Lexus that are the top 3 cars for the 21 championship contending Ferrari in 4th place. Corvette were really complaining in free practice 1 about total lack of grip as well, but they have made big changes at TF Sport in terms of the setup, and the 81 Corvette is 5th quickest, ahead of the 95 United Autosports McLaren. But Iron Lynx, and this is a story as well of development, of just working with the car from the beginning of the season to the end. The AMG Mercedes really has been transformed, and to a degree, yes, the front engine cars are working a little better on this hotter weather tyre, but it is a competitive proposition where, and a little bit like the Ford Mustang, last year it wasn't, but lots of development work has brought it into the frame. Same here with the Mercedes. And the Mustangs, the top Mustang is in 8th place. That's the 77 car that we saw having that contretemps with the Alpine.
current 14, we are also 1.5% more aero balance. This helps. But what I like is at least you arrive in a fast corner, you leave, the won't come. It's not like yesterday you leave, it doesn't come immediately and it stays. Now you leave, it comes.
Allora, saluta la camera.